Voigt, and we'll answer your garden question. That's all this Saturday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on AM 950. Tell a friend and let's grow together.
The Mary T family of companies serves seniors and people with a wide range of disabilities. We provide home health care, hospice services, and accessible rental housing. This is Mary T, and we'd like you to join us. We're hiring direct care professionals, CNAs, nurses, and other support services. Our mission is to provide quality, personalized services to meet the unique and evolving needs of the people that we serve. Join a Minnesota family-owned company that was founded on a history of care. Apply today at marytinc.com/careers.
Hi, this is Chad from AM 950. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the metro. Ryan is so excited about working with AM 950 and our listeners that he wants to help us grow.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. I was friends with Chad long before I started marketing with him. I was a bit skeptical of radio advertising before Chad convinced us to run ads. The advertising's been so successful, we want to help the station grow. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners of AM 950, and we all know how extremely important this radio station is to the community. To help AM 950 grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to follow, engage, share, and interact on the AM 950 social media platforms. Together, we can all work to ensure AM 950 continues to thrive and grow in our communities. We stand by our work with a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee. For a free estimate or more information on our financing, call 612-333-SNAP or check us out online.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 73, Thursday sunny with a high near 96, and Friday partly cloudy with a high around 87. Cafe Latte is a hot spot for American eats and house-made desserts in a cafeteria-style setup plus a pizza and wine bar. Cafe Latte believes ingredients matter, so that's why they never use artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Dine in at the restaurant off Victoria and Grand in St. Paul or place a takeout order at cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous. Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings that wounded me.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You're right, Daga. This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Yes, it is. Hey, we got a couple guests going on today. We got our sister Arvina Martin from Executive Director from Emerge, Wisconsin. And then we have Jessica, State Representative Jessica Hanson on again today. And we wanted to talk about that big event that's happening at First Avenue on, I believe it's the first, correctly? Am I correct? The legalized,
yes.
Legalize it at First Avenue, and it's going to be a big party, surprise guests, and I'm going to try and make it out there.
Absolutely. Should be a fun time. And that's at First Ave.
Yeah, definitely.
When's the last time you were out there?
Bernie was in town a couple of years ago. Went out there. Maybe it was 3 years ago. He was out there supporting Keith Ellison, and remember Tina Smith spoke and she got booed, and people were yelling toxic Tina, and just because of what she supports. And I think her husband works in the medical field, big time person in the medical field. So that was kind of Interesting and hilarious and all in the same part. But yeah, First Avenue, I have a lot of great memories at First Avenue. But hey, let's back up a second, Haley, while we're waiting for our guest. And let's talk a little bit about yesterday. Was so awesome that the Twins supported, first of all, the Native American Heritage night, and I got a sweet T-shirt. I'm wearing it right now. And also, we were able to broadcast there, and then get Dan Gladden, one of the uh, Twins broadcasters, on for the first part of the show. And then I think you and I just rambled. We were so excited. We just drank coffee and Pepsi, and we're rambling on for the next two segments. But class act there, the Twins, and really appreciate it. And we'll probably do a couple more games before the end of the season.
Yeah, I sure hope so. It was a blast. Thank you to the Twins, and shout out to Drew for hosting us out there in the press
Yeah.
box, and shout out to Dan Gladden. That was amazing for him taking the time to come on Native Roots Radio. And yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully we can get back out there and they can get a win.
Yeah. Yeah, they lost today and lost yesterday, so it was kind of heartbreaking. They were catching up today, but hey, one of the things I'd like to bring up too, one of our big sponsors, and in Minneapolis, and you and I go as often as we can for the Four Sisters Market. Is got some news on that, huh, Haley?
Yeah, so NACD put out a post here. This is off their Facebook. Attention, Four Sisters Farmers Market goers. Due to the heat advisory and their concern for vendors' well-being and their products, they have decided to cancel the market this week, tomorrow. So there will be no farmers market out on Franklin Avenue tomorrow, but they will be back. It'll be open next Thursday, August 3rd, and I believe that they'll be doing another food demonstration with Dream of Wild Health. And for those of you with IFS shares with Dream of Wild Health, you can still pick those up tomorrow at the farmers market. They'll be parked in their usual spot for those pickups.
Oh, awesome. That's really good to know, Haley. I know when Wendy's in town, I'm always picking up stuff for her to cook, and the vegetables. So that's good that they can still do that. I have not left the house today.
No, I've been hiding out in my AC all day.
Yeah.
Very thankful for the AC.
Yeah, definitely. It's 92 right now here in the Twin Cities, and we got weather happening all week. 95 tomorrow, the high, and then Friday it's cooling down to 87 degrees. So really, really excited about that. And Saturday's 83. So, we talk, and I saw the news, and all around the world they're talking about this has everything that has to do with global warming.
Yeah, I was just going to actually bring up climate change. And did you see that the Florida ocean temperature surpassed 100 degrees, which was potentially a world record?
Yeah, that's amazing. And then Florida's water, I don't know if you saw this, the around Florida, it's a record. The temperature of the water is 101 degrees, and it's killing all the coral reefs.
Yeah. So that's hot tub temperature in ocean.
That's exactly what they said, Haley. That it's hot tub. It's insane. Would you go swimming in the ocean? Is it refreshing? No, I don't think so.
I couldn't imagine.
Warm.
Yeah, well, I wonder too if it has to do with bringing the sharks closer to the shoreline, because I've been seeing everywhere too, sharks coming up closer to the beaches, and what's drawing that.
But kind of a thing, but it's also it's so rare, and I feel like the media makes it a bigger deal than it is. I mean, of course, if you're the person getting your leg chomped on, it's a big deal, but
right.
Just how many people are really doing it, and it always comes up every year, and Wendy being an ocean person, saying it really doesn't happen that often. And also, but then again, you are correct about that. It's the climate is just changing. The world's burning up here, and I see we got Representative Hanson on. I just want to say, how's it going?
Hi, thanks for having me again. Nice to see you all.
Right on. Hey, we got a couple minutes here left, and then we can hold on and have you on for a couple more minutes afterwards. But we were talking about the event coming up and how exciting it is, and I wonder if you wanted to just give a quick shout out on that, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about a few things, seeing that you dropped in. Oh, wow.
Yes. So on Tuesday, August 1st, we have a really exciting event at First Avenue to celebrate the passage of the cannabis legalization bill and to celebrate passing the best model for full legalization in the country. So I'm sure you've heard me talking about this or have seen the flyers online, but we're encouraging everybody to come out, especially if you're interested in getting in the industry. We want to be sure that we can connect our grassroots businesses and the small business owners right here in Minnesota. This is a great opportunity to meet other people. There will be folks there that have experience and folks that are brand new. There's also just going to be music and celebration and some special surprise guests on stage too. Our speaking program will be from about 6 to 7, and I will be on stage. It'll be somewhere between 6 and 7 we're starting. And I'll be on stage to just kind of usher that along, and then we'll get back to the music as fast as possible.
Right, exactly, and it is a really celebration for many reasons. And we talked about the bill that you've been working on for years that's come to fruition. That it was a very large bill, and there were a lot of things that were considered.
Yeah, there was a lot that we looked at. We made sure that this was a community-centered, grassroots, organized effort. And I think that's what we can do in so many other ways. This is really a case study for what good public policy looks like. What does it look like to coordinate with other state agencies, make sure all of our communities are connected, and just doing policy in the ways that are best for Minnesotans.
Hey, Representative Hanson, can you hold on? We got a couple minute commercial, and then we can just ask you a few more questions and then pump this out there again and then get to our other guest. You got a couple more minutes?
Of course, always for you.
All right. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back with State Representative Jessica Hanson. Hoa! I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, this is Robert Pilot. I taught in St. Paul Public Schools for over 25 years, and I want you to join the team and make a difference in our children's future. Right now, St. Paul Public Schools is offering hiring and retention bonuses up to $10,000 for a variety of teaching and classroom support positions for the next school year. Grow in a supportive and fulfilling public school setting. Limited bonuses are available, so don't delay. Apply at spps.org/careers.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Yes, they do. Hey, we're here with State Representative Jessica Hanson, and we're talking a little bit about celebration coming up here on August 1st. And I know Red Lake is going to be celebrating too because they're opening up their business right away, and we're really proud of them. And some things have come up, State Representative, and I don't know how to read it. So I'm glad you're on here and to maybe straighten out a few things for me in my foggy mind, because back in the 70s, I don't remember much of the 70s. I just got to tell you that right now. And there's a few reasons, but hey, so there's some things coming up about people, I don't know, leaving the place where they buy the cannabis and smoking pot in public, or is that right? What's going on there?
Yeah, so the law says that as of August 1st, it is legal to possess in public up to 2 ounces of cannabis. If you're in your car, it does need to be in your trunk, just like alcohol or an open bottle would be. You cannot have open cannabis packages or paraphernalia in your car. Glove box, armrest. It's got to go into the trunk, the furthest point away from the driver. And I always say this just to make it really clear, just because we legalize cannabis does not mean that it is safe to drive under the influence. Those laws have not changed. So it is just as unsafe and dangerous to drive under the influence of cannabis as it has always been in Minnesota. Your license is at risk, your vehicle, all of your possessions. So just don't do it. And then make sure that when you are transporting it, it's in the trunk of your car. And then at home, if you're growing at home, you can have up to 2 pounds per adult in the household. And that is, obviously a lot more than what we're allowing out in public, but we know that the plant yield is going to produce more than the 2 ounces you can hold. So it was important that we did that piece. And then as on August 1st, it is legal to smoke cannabis in public. Now, this does not mean you can smoke indoors. Another thing that did not change is the Clean Indoor Air Act. So smoking indoors is still prohibited. We know that there was a piece of the bill that passed that prohibited smoking or vaping cannabis in multifamily housing units unless it's for medical purposes. So tread lightly there. Make sure that you're following those rules of your landlord or whoever owns the property, and making sure you're avoiding any interactions with law enforcement for that reason. But it is a ticket, if that happens, but it can get you in some hot water with your landlords depending on what their rules are. So you'll want to check on that. But again, if you're a medical patient, that does not apply to you. And then consuming in public, obviously we don't want people consuming in their cars. We don't want people consuming, where it's prohibited. But if it is okay in public, that is allowed in Minnesota. Now, cities can pass ordinances that restrict where you can smoke cigarettes or smoke cannabis in this purpose. So you'll want to make sure that you are in tune with what city you're in, what their rules are, and that you're following that. Now, we know that there's sometimes those restrictions are reasonable, but there's other times that they're not. We know that sometimes those bans are put in place as a form of reefer madness. It is just a continuation of prohibition. And what we're seeing right now is the death rattle of prohibition. We're hearing it across the state where states are looking at fully banning it. And some folks are being very outspoken about how they feel about cannabis. Remember, we passed a legal program for a reason because the vast majority of Minnesotans wanted this. And that's what's important. So as cities work on this, it is beyond important that you make your voice heard about what you as a tax-paying citizen want to see in your particular city. Just like you came to the state to testify, you need to go talk to your city folks as well. If you don't have that engagement, that's how things happen about us without us. And so making sure you're making your voice heard at your city is important. You'll see in the news as the cities are talking about it, you'll just keep an eye on those things. If you're in tune with city council meetings, watch those, but do not, we don't want people breaking those rules. We want you to follow that. And the other thing I'm telling people in that regard is remember that you have so much economic power, especially my generation as millennials and some of the Gen Xers and Gen Z as well. Our power and economic power exists, and we oftentimes don't use it to our advantage. We want to make sure that we are patronizing cities that have cannabis-friendly rules in place. If you're a cannabis consumer, you support this industry, that's where you should go to spend your money, is making sure you're going to those places that are kind to us, that welcome us, and that make sure that they're not looking down at us. Again, this reefer madness stuff is on its death rattle, and that's what you're hearing a lot in the news right now.
Wow, thanks for straightening me out on that, because that was really interesting. We're here with State Representative Jessica Hanson, and we're talking a little bit. We got up next Arvina Martin with Wisconsin Emerge, and we love talking to Arvina. I just got a couple more things. So we have I can't. So they're missing out. Listen to me, I'm all stuttering here. They're missing out on tax revenue, these cities that are like against selling cannabis or having, and there's a lot of taxes in this.
I mean, any government, local government that restricts the opportunities of small business owners is missing out on that. This is a legal industry for the hemp-derived THC right now, and that is like your drinks, that's low dose edibles, things like that. Those are legal and have been since last summer. And those businesses have already seen a ton of challenges as cities have tried to work on whether it's a moratorium or a ban or a licensing model, whatever it might be. But any city that's against commerce is losing money. And this is an industry that's approximately $1 billion of an untaxed underground industry right now. So personally and frankly, I don't see the benefit that it poses to taxpayers to stop these businesses from coming in. Especially looking at the South Metro, which is where I'm from, there's a city not too far from me that has excessively high property taxes. And it's always been said that this is to offset our costs. But that same city is looking at banning any and all cannabis businesses and consumers from their, being able to consume in their city. So at what point do the taxpayers stand up and say, no, this is not okay? And this is why engaging with your government at all levels is so important, because we deserve that economic development, and this industry offers that. And to turn a blind eye to that really just makes and keeps communities less safe, because prohibition is dangerous. We have seen what it's done to communities. We've seen what it's done in a lot of situations. It is not a safe way to do business. And here we have a safe and legal way for businesses to operate, and cities are choosing the more dangerous route. That's questionable to me. And I wonder, sometimes I ask myself, should we follow the money and see why these decisions are being made? Because this does not help anybody except, the cartels and other people who are continuing to profit and are looking forward to continuing to profit off of an illegal industry, while we work really hard as a state and as a community to build a legal, above ground, ethical industry.
Wow. Thank you, State Representative Jessica Hanson. And I will be seeing you August 1st at First Avenue, and we will be celebrating the fact that it's legal here. And we will also be celebrating the fact that all the things in that bill helping our incarcerated brothers and sisters get out too will fruition and come in. So thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you the 1st.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, we'll see you. Wow, Representative Jessica Hanson, just great to see her, and what a lot of energy. Hey, speaking of energy, we have Arvina Martin on here, Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin, and there's a couple questions I got to ask you. One right off the top was, how was Beyonce? Oh,
she was amazing. It was so cool. And I wore the beaded crown I made.
Yeah, I saw that. And then I saw a lot of Native Americans there.
I didn't run into any. I didn't see any that were, I didn't see any like Beyonce ribbon skirts or anything like that, but I'm sure I mean, that place was huge and it was packed. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so your thumbs up on the concert?
Oh, absolutely. She put on one heck of a show. It was, I mean, the costume changes, the sets, the dancers. Blue Ivy, her daughter, came out and danced for a song, and everybody lost their minds. It was amazing. She's a performer, that's for sure. I mean, it's not just a concert. It was all kinds of stuff, not just the music, the dancing.
Empowerment of women, though, too. I mean, that's the vibe I got from all the great texts and people updating on what's going on my social media.
Yeah, well, and then she there was I think it was during the song Break My Soul, where she shouted out all kinds of other female performers, from Nina Simone to Madonna to Lizzo. So it was celebratory and not, I think people try to pigeonhole or stereotype women as being catty against each other, and there's so much support that women offer each other, and it was really cool. Even Beyonce.
Nina Simone, wow, what a name, what an artist, that
yeah.
I mean, she was mainstream, but really underground too at the same time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So are you staying cool there in Wisconsin? Because I know it's hot here in Minnesota and we have major global warming happening here.
We've had a rough couple of days here. The wildfire smoke earlier this week was pretty bad, but we got a fair amount of rain and it has cooled off a bit, but I don't know if it's going to stay nice. So I guess we shall see. Hooray.
Hey, I think this is the first time I've talked to you since you hosted the show, and I really appreciate it. And I was listening. What a great job you and Haley did.
I thought we did rather well. It was a lot of fun, and I like talking with John. And I've got an update. We talked a bit about the Indigenous games, and I had mentioned that my Ho-Chunk-Way daughter, little Arvina Martin, was on Team Wisconsin U16 volleyball, and they came home with the gold medal. So my baby girl has a gold medal, and it sounds like it was an incredible experience. So
do you have time to talk about that in the next segment?
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. Because I know Team Wisconsin kicked booty, and maybe you can tell our listeners about what they were doing and where they were and things like that. And we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us.
Attention art enthusiasts, experience Laura Youngbird's Indie Wisigindam, My Heart Hurts, a solo exhibition by Laura Youngbird presented by All My Relations Arts this summer. All My Relations Arts aims to foster connections between contemporary American Indian artists, preceding generations, diverse audiences, and the vitality of the American Indian cultural corridor. Laura Youngbird is a talented artist from the Minnesota Chippewa Grand Portage Band that uses the dress as a metaphor to address social issues, injustices, and biases. Through mixed media combining drawing, painting, and prints, Laura explores the dress as a powerful symbol in her work, revealing layers of meaning. Her series examines mixed emotions and themes like common threads, loose ends, and vulnerability. And you can see Laura Youngbird's Inde Wisigindam, My Heart Hurts, all summer through September 9th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Plan your visit and let the moving art speak to your heart. More information at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Attention, Native American community. We've come a long way in our fight against COVID-19. The emergency declaration may be over, but our responsibility to stay vigilant remains. It is crucial to remember that the virus is still among us, and we must continue to prioritize our health and the well-being of our loved ones and elders. Besides getting vaccinated, let's not forget the basics when we're around people who are still vulnerable to COVID-19. Wear your mask, wash your hands regularly, and take an at-home COVID-19 test if you have any symptoms. We've shown incredible strength and resilience throughout history, and we will triumph over this challenge as well. Let's honor our ancestors by taking care of one another and keeping our communities safe. Together, let's navigate uncertain times with courage and unity. Stay informed, stay safe, and remember that our actions today will shape a brighter future for our Native community. Find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. Howl! J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas will help you get where you want to go. Located in downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality at Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas. Apply today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 73, Thursday sunny with a high near 96, and Friday partly cloudy with a high around 87. Since 1984, Cafe Latte has been serving up the freshest baked goods and modern comfort food in a cafeteria setting. Their menu is prepared with the best ingredients available. Cafe Latte is a leader in sustainable dining, composting their food and paper waste along with recycling everything they can. Located off Victoria and Grand in St. Paul or at cafelatte.com.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by St. Paul Public Schools.
Yes, I'm an alumni teacher of St. Paul, and I went to St. Paul Public Schools, and as you probably are listening on those ads that we're running, they're giving out $10,000 bonuses for teachers and other support staff. So check it out, spps.org. Hey, we're here with, I don't know, I just did a commercial, Arvina.
That was pretty good.
Arvina Martin. Well, it was funny. Haley and I were at the Twins game. I don't know if you saw that, Arvina. We did the show live from the Twins game, and I wasn't used to doing all the talking in the show. I usually just let our guests talk, and I kept on saying to Haley, "How much time do I have left?" And she goes, "Oh, another 7 minutes." I'm going, "What?"
7 minutes, yeah. And we both were like ADHD looking out at the field, because where we were sitting, it was like, the press desk. And so we're not facing each other. We're just both looking out at the field. And there was so much going on. I felt like, I was like, oh, what is that?
Well, I also thought, Arvina, that I was talking for 20 minutes, and it ended up being I was only talking for 3 minutes.
See, well, and I do have ADHD, and so I'm sitting here. It's a lot easier for me to talk and like have meetings and stuff and process what's happening if I'm doing something with my hands. So I'm beating. If you see me look down, I'm still listening. It just helps me be able to, process what's happening in the moment, because otherwise,
yes,
my mind wanders really easily.
Hey, whatever works.
Exactly. Hey, so I'm wondering too, if you could update our listening audience kind of a little bit what you're talking about, the Indigenous Games of 2023, if you just give a little background on that, because Wisconsin youth did awesome.
Yeah, I believe, and this is all just stuff I've gleaned from like social media and from having friends and relatives that all participated in all different kinds of games. It's the Indigenous Games, I believe, happen every 4 years and are a like Olympic style sports competition. So lots of different kinds of sports and like track and field and golf and games and things like that for Native folks in North America. And they had all of the teams divided up by, there were different divisions based on age and gender, and everybody competed as the state or the province that they were from. So other than the Haudenosaunee, I apologize to any of our relatives that heard me mispronounce that. Haudenosaunee or Haudenosaunee, I've heard it pronounced both ways. So I apologize if I messed that up. But they competed as their own team. Yeah, about 5,000 youth. And I'm just looking, I've got on my other screen over here, I'm looking, and Team Wisconsin finished highest out of all the U.S. teams, but behind Saskatchewan, British Columbia, Ontario, Alberta, Manitoba, and the Eastern Door and the North. So there were a lot of kids. Wisconsin came home with 56 medals. Wow. Contrasting, Saskatchewan had 52 gold medals.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these delegations were really big.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
I know in Wisconsin, boys did well in basketball because I have an aide that went there, a
Ooh.
representative aide and her family, and I think her daughter played basketball too, but they did really well, and it's like the real deal. I'm seeing pictures and
Yeah.
videos of it going on. They marched in, they did the whole Olympic style ceremonies. It was really
Yeah.
awesome.
I was telling Haley last week that when I saw pictures popping up in my feed, it was making me teary just to see all of these, Native youth coming out and representing their communities and representing their tribes and their state or province. What an honor and how cool to be able to meet other Native youth, other kids doing the same thing. I love it. I love it.
I have an update too, I guess, just regarding the games as well. But this is coming from Alex Buffalohead of NACD, who we've had on the show before. But in her update about the games, several Indigenous youth athletes from Minnesota participated in volleyball, baseball, and basketball. The Minnesota Red Bears athletics trained and supported several of these athletes. Patrick Crow, also known as Yamni Crow from Pine Ridge, played U19 basketball, won a silver medal, and played with only 6 active players.
Ooh.
Can you imagine that? Right. Patricia Crow also from Pine Ridge, and I hope I'm saying this right. Ania Smith of White Earth participated in U19 girls volleyball, as well as Malachi Crow of Pine Ridge, William Moose Jr. of White Earth, Mukwa Roberts Jr., a U16 team from the Dakota Spelling, Minnesota basketball team, also won silver medals. And Marin's Chamberlain, Ho Chunk, competed with the U19 team as well.
Baseball.
Yes,
yeah,
baseball.
And what's great is we support our young athletes as a nation, and all 3 of us here are Ho-Chunk, and we got to be proud of how we support our youth, and it's really really exciting too. Speaking of support, we have the executive director here of Emerge Wisconsin, and that's all about support, and I know good things are happening, and we talk a lot about it, and I know more and more about it each time. It just how you go about your business and how you're working with young natives to run, and I just want to be here and support whatever you got going on. So what, do you have any updates or any feelings about this in the last week? I know it's a process, so things don't happen like every minute, but
Yeah, well, I mentioned previously that we finished up our first cohort. They finished their training and they will be graduating on Sunday. So yes, I'm very excited to see them all. We didn't get to meet in person as much as we normally would have due to winter weather on some of the weekends that made it, it wasn't safe to travel, and keeping people at home and safe is important, obviously. Excuse me. But that means we didn't get to see each other as many times and get to know each other in person the same. So I am very much looking forward to our graduation ceremony and just being able to cap off an amazing year of work that these women put in into learning about what it is that makes them want to run for office and how to do it, and how to do it in a way that is authentically themselves. At Emerge, we're not saying this is how you run a campaign and this is the box that you need to be in. We want people who are able to take the lessons and the resources and the connections and then be able to put them towards positive campaigns that are equitable, that are inclusive of all kinds of people in whatever ways that need to be included, so that everybody can be a part and participate in your campaign, but also so that you're able to effectively communicate, and that is helpful not just for running but for serving, and doing it in a way that is authentic to yourself. I think think that's really important. And I think that we, when we have electeds serving who are able to be authentic to who they are as real people, and not just, this is how Arvina, the alder person, does this. This is how Arvina, the human being, operates, and that informs how Arvina, the alder, would make decisions on things and talk to people and everything. So I'm just really excited. I can't wait to see, some of these women are already making plans to run either next spring or next fall. So we've got,
Wow.
So we've got people that are already committing to it and, starting to make their plans and put to use the training that they've got this last year. It's exciting. It's super, super exciting. We've got a class. I call them small but mighty, but but they all have, tremendous stories and experiences, but also a tremendous amount of pride in their communities, and a desire to help, and a desire to make the places where they live better than they are right now. And I think that that's the only actual prerequisite to, real prerequisite. Except for things that have like age-based, conditions like that. But that's really the qualification you need in order to serve in elected office. You need to care about your community and making it better.
Well, and I was taught, and I don't know, Arvina, if you were taught, but I was taught that the women have always led the way, and in a lot of ways. Even if as far back as, I shouldn't say as far back, but as recent as the American Indian movement, they might have had a few men that were up in front, but the women were making all the decisions in the background. And I think that's the way, in a good way, we should be supporting here as me as a man, because that's how things get done. Come on.
Well, and I think if you look at especially the Ho-Chunk Nation, we do have a strong history of intelligent and strong and powerful women that serve. I feel like if you go back, we're very close to parity almost always, in terms of the makeup of our legislative body. Our legislature has, good numbers of, equal-ish numbers of men and women. It's never, like just one. And what the first chairwoman of the Ho-Chunk Nation, then when it was the Wisconsin Winnebago, Helen Miller Minor. I'm afraid I'm going to say her name backwards. So if I got that wrong too, I apologize. And I'm referring to her with great respect, and I apologize if I messed that up. But think about Sharice Davids. We have. There's so many incredible women that we have in our communities that are ready to put in the work. And that's not to say that we don't have men that are not ready and willing to do the same. I've told folks that I'm happy to help direct them to places that can train them. But even though Emerge Wisconsin can't do that, I am happy to help and direct them to organizations that can.
Yeah, and we're here willing to help at Native Roots Radio. We've done symposiums, we've done these things all over Turtle Island, and we're really excited to have you on pretty often now, weekly at least, to speak your truth and get that word out there. I know you're busy right now, but will you come back for just a little bit here in this last segment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back with Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin. Oh,
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Be a vaccinative. It's time to come together and talk about the urgent need to stay up to date on COVID-19 vaccinations to protect our heritage, our loved ones, and our future. Throughout history, we have always faced challenges, and today we must protect our culture and loved ones. This is our opportunity to ensure that our tribal gatherings once again resound with joy and celebration, where the echoes of our ancestors guide our steps. It's a chance to care for our elders, cherishing their wisdom and stories for generations to come. COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. Let us unite, resilient as ever, and show the world the strength of the Native American community. Together, we shape a future where our traditions thrive, our children learn from our ancestors, and our people flourish once more. So be a vaccinative and learn more about staying up to date with your COVID vaccinations at health.state.mn.us. That's health.state.mn.us. This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
Your neighbors are talking about the Blue Line extension, connecting North Minneapolis, Crystal, Robbinsdale, and Brooklyn Park to the light rail transit system.
The Blue Line allows us to actually connect people in real time to this community. Instead of bypassing it, they're going to stop and shop. They're going to stop and play. They're going to stop and work. Blue Line is a connector.
Hear more of this story and others at yourblueline.org.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Oh!
Arvina was muted during her howl. We might have to do that again.
Oh no! I had a little bitty awoo.
Oh, okay, we can take that down. Oh, it's broken now. Oh no,
it was broken.
Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin, and we're talking about a lot of things, but I'd like you to talk a little bit more about Emerge. And one of the things I always want to bring up is, how people can support this, and
Absolutely.
Where's your website and Facebook?
Yeah, you can find us on social media at Emerge WI or Emerge Wisconsin. And our website is wi.emergeamerica.org. And you can go there to find out information about future programming that we're going to be doing, information about things that our alumna are working on and are getting bodies that they're getting elected to, and amazing work that they're doing. And the thing that is most helpful to us is when you donate. So we do have a link there where you can go and give us a donation. We use our we actually, I think it's about 80% of our budget is all directly program related. So, that your money's going to good work and good use to our training these future leaders, current leaders and future leaders of Wisconsin. And we're also, anybody out there in Wisconsin that is interested and thinking, maybe this is going to be the time. Maybe I want to do something like this. You can also go to our website and get on our mailing list that will announce when our applications are open. We will be opening those up so you can start applying this year on Labor Day, and it will go through November, and we'll pull together an amazing cohort for our class of 2024. And remember how I said that the one thing that you need, like the one qualification that you need for being an elected official, is to care about your community and want to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to give this message to any woman, any person out there that is thinking about, maybe this would be a good spot for me. Maybe I could serve on my county board or my school board. do it. Run for office. You have a perspective and a unique experience that no one else has, and maybe that's what your local legislative body, what your government needs, is your experience. You don't need to be an attorney. You don't have to have a college degree. You just have to be able to take a look at things critically and figure out solutions. And I, don't tell yourself you're not qualified.
Mhm.
I especially for women, that can be so hard
Right.
to decide, oh, well, that person's more qualified than me. I'm not going to put myself out there. Put yourself out there. I don't know if some of you have noticed some of the elected officials that we have at all levels, and they're certainly not thinking, am I qualified? And they're like, I am qualified, and they go and they run, and sometimes they win. And
I was just out in Long Island. I don't even want to say the person's name.
Oh
we
dear, I almost forgot about that guy.
Yeah. Well, hey, I want to say this too. I've had a lot of awesome politicians, women politicians on this show, and I'll say a good 70% of them did not win their first election. And the important thing that I want to bring up with that is that it is a process, and sometimes they come back for the second election and win big because they know the process, they've gone through it, and they feel more comfortable and whatever. What is your thoughts on that? Have you heard the same thing?
I mean, it's absolutely, it's very common. I mean, think about how many times Joe Biden ran for president. I mean, he was running in the late 80s, early 90s too, right? Like this
I
is
do remember that.
he's run many times and got elected this last time. And it's totally fine, especially as a first-time candidate. Sometimes we have candidates that don't decide to run until kind of last minute. So they've got to collect their signatures, and maybe they only have a couple of days, and they're going in and they don't really know, they don't have a plan, they don't know what they're doing. That's a great, if you do that, you still have so much to learn. You've gone through it and you kind of understand a bit. Well, probably quite a fair amount of campaigns, but then, you can participate in training programs that will teach you the things that you're going to need to know how to do, like how to ask for money, like how to call your relatives. And it's hard, especially, in our communities, we don't just go and ask for money, in the way that others may. So learning how to do that and being less afraid and framing your ask and believing it in that ask for money less as give me money, and it's more give your friends and loved ones an opportunity to support you, and people want to do that, so learning things like that, learning about, how to know how many doors you need to knock on and which doors should you knock on. What's a good use of your campaign time and your resources, your whether it's staff or volunteers, or whether it is funding, what is the best, also your time, that's the biggest resource in a campaign, and it's the one that always gets smaller. It never gets bigger again. So, going to trainings like these, like what we do at Emerge and other organizations, like last week we had my friend John Smallwood from Wisconsin Progress join us, and his organization does candidate training too. And so not only are you getting that practical information, but you're hearing it from people that do this, like that's their profession. So you're getting experts to teach you, plus you're making connections with those experts. So like later, you can, John came and did fundraising training for us. So any of our class members can go and send John an email, say, hey, I have this question about an event I'm throwing, and he'll be there and can help out. And then it's just all the connections you make with the cohort the class that you participate in, and people that end up running, and you running for office is a really weird experience. When I ran for Secretary of State and was crisscrossing all over, I was with people all the time, but it was really lonely because, your campaign, you have the same conversations and the people want to know kind of similar things about you. And nobody, unless you've done it, you don't really kind of have anybody, or you don't know how to relate, because there isn't really another kind of similar experience that you can that folks can easily relate to. So having a cohort and a group of people going through the same experience makes the whole journey a lot less lonely, and it helps bolster your own self-esteem. You've got these, in our case with Emerge, you've got this whole group of women who believe in you and know that you are capable and are going to help lift you up and give you those moments of when you're self-doubting, be like, I don't like that. No, you don't talk about yourself this way. You are capable, you are competent, and you're going to win this. So let's go do it. Those are all things that are necessary for a successful campaign, and training is a great way to go find them all in one place.
Hey, thank you, Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Merge Wisconsin. I also want to give a big shout out to State Representative Jessica Hanson and, of course, Haley and our listening audience. We're still here. We are the seventh generation.
Free Leonard Peltier. Yay. Now.
The Powderhorn Art Fair is returning to Powderhorn Park